My name is Fatima. I'm from Albany, New York. I live in Los Angeles right now. I moved out here because I wanted my children to have more in life than I did. I come from a very small, poor town, Albany. It's not flooding in the streets of creativity like you see it in Hollywood or New York or Atlanta and other places. So I wanted my children to have opportunities around them, and I wanted to help them exercise their natural given gifts, and I wanted to help them turn it into skills and hone them into the greatness that we were all meant to be and to have an abundant life. First, I put myself through nursing school, and then I put myself through TV production school, and then I came out here to Los Angeles, brought my children. A few months later, I invited my mom to come. And I retired my mom, and I asked her to just be here with me because at the time I was single. So far, my children have gone on to work for Nike, Gap, Banana Republics, Box Lunch, which is the baby version of Hot Topics. They've worked on TV shows Insecure on HBO. They've been booked for Netflix's Grace and Frankie, and so much more. I've worked with every age range. I have 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy. My boy is my youngest. He's 3 years old. And then I have a 5-year-old, and then I have a 13-year-old, and then I have a 21-year-old and a 23-year-old. So I've worked with all age ranges, and my children have basically worked in every part of the entertainment industry that you could think of. They have done songwriting. They've even developed and written their own script that we turn into a movie. They have done dancing. They dance at Debbie Allen's Dance Academy, done acting, modeling, commercials, films, etc. The list goes on. So many parents were asking me how I could help them get their children doing the same thing, and they wanted to know more information about it. Obviously, when you're not a part of this industry, I'm assuming that there are some scares out there. I just didn't come into it with any scares. I came into it knowing what I wanted for my family. I had a vision for my family. I had a dream for my family. I have failed so many times, and when I say failed, I mean I have went through so many lessons that I had to learn to overcome and make it to where I want it to be. So that's what failure is to me. Failure doesn't mean it didn't happen to me. It means that I took some losses that I learned from, and then I turned it into what I wanted it to be, which is my own success. Figuring yourself out, learning what you want, learning how to get it, learning how to network, learning how to communicate. All of this is a part of your failing to making it into the region of your life that you want to be in, especially if you do not come from this type of family, surrounding friends, or any type of relationships in your life. So if you are wondering how to get your child into acting and modeling, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what your concerns are so that I can address them specifically. And I would love to hear if you have tried, what your challenges were. I would love to hear what your concerns are just in general on why you feel like you can't or what you feel like you need to do in order to make it happen, so that I can always address what it is that you want specifically. So I'm here to help parents get their children into acting and modeling and become momagers, or if you're a dad, become that. I got to think of a man word for momager. Popager. In the arts of creativity, expressing themselves, networking, communicating, and getting signed into the contracts safely and the contracts that you want, and bringing people onto your team for your family, like agents and managers. Even though you may bring a manager onto your team, you will always remain being the overall manager to your family, to your children. This is your bloodline, and you protect it by any means necessary. If you want to get your child into acting and modeling, there are specific websites that you go to where only reputable talent agents and managers and casting directors, producers, directors can post themselves on. They have to be reputable in order to be able to post themselves on there. The website is called imdbpro.com. So there's imdb.com, and then there's imdbpro.com. And this website, you can go on there and research any type of any area that you're living in. You can type it in and look up talent agents in your area. And it doesn't even matter which area, because now we're living in a time where even if you're living in Oklahoma and you feel like, oh, there's no talent agents out here that are reputable or that I trust or that are really doing anything with their business, you can still get an agent in New York, in LA, wherever, especially ever since COVID hit and everyone started doing things via Zoom. They do auditions on Zoom, they do callbacks on Zoom, and if you get the part, obviously now it's worth flying to where you need to do the job and get paid. So don't let where you live stop you from pursuing your dreams, and don't think that you have to immediately move in order to pursue your dreams. Being around other people who are successful in the industry that you wish to become successful in. I'm crazy, so I will jump and then figure it out after I jump. I'm not going to sit here and tell people to do that, but I did that as a single mom with my children. I jumped from New York to Los Angeles with not a place to stay, with not a job lined up, with not a friend or a family here for me. What I had was a car. I sold that car. I looked online for what cars I could get here. I communicated with someone. I had them meet us at the airport. They sold me that car, gave me the key, and we took off. Everyone in my family told me I was crazy. My own sister that I grew up with told me that I was unstable as a mom. She said I was moving without security as a single mom and as a woman. And she was right. At that time, I was pissed off at her. Like, how dare you say that to me? Like, how are you judging me like this? Like, how do you not see, like, what it is that I want to do? However, now that I'm a bit older, 10 years later, I do see where she was coming from, but I still didn't let that stop me. You have to have a huge dream in order to be able to accomplish something bigger than yourself. Like, you have to be delusional to have a huge dream. And delusional just means that you convince yourself that you're able to accomplish something that is out of the norm. If you don't have this huge dream, attacking or executing things that are big will be a bit harder. Like, if your only goal is to just make a lot of money, that's not, like, that's a nice dream. It's a big dream, but I'm telling you from experience, the dream has to be, like, bigger than yourself. Like, I want to take care of my family. I want to take my family out of poverty. I want to build this nonprofit organization. Growing up, I always seen these young boys or these young girls struggling, and I want to really give back to my community. Like, if it's bigger than yourself, then every goal that you set to execute on that, it's a little bit more easier to sustain the hardship because your dream is there, your vision, you have to see it. So first thing I always tell parents is have a vision for your family, and if you don't know what that is yet, or if you feel like you don't have one yet, I would just say, like, really sit and think about, like, what do I want for my children? What do I want for my family? And how does that look? Like, really just sit and be like, okay, what does that look like? For me, my goal is to own lots of land, and to have our own land, and to have our own home, to have an estate. I actually already have my eye on the estate that I want to get for my family. It sits on 96 acres. I already started buying land in a whole nother state that I'm not even living in. It's like an 1.3 acres. And for that, I'm doing that for investments reasons for my children. And I'm putting it in a trust for them to be able to access. And if somebody comes along and says, hey, I want to build a mall on here or a parking lot or whatever, they now have to pay my family to be able to do that. So land is the bank. I want to have a banking system in my family so that when the cousins or the nieces and nephews say they want to go to college or they need to get a loan for even something as simple as a car, they can access our family banking, and the board and everything is already set up. Whatever rules you set into place for your family, so whatever rules I set into my place to be on my trust that the board has to abide by for my family, and this can go on for generations. If you've ever heard of What Would the Rockefellers Do, if you ever read that book, you can audio listen to it. It's on YouTube, What Would the Rockefellers Do. That system that they put in line for their bloodline is amazing, and it will have you never banking with no bank ever again, and you will be only creating your own banking system. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic, whole nother story that I will be sharing one day soon. You can submit them to talent agents, no matter what state you're in, imdbpro.com. You can look them up. the talent agent, just type in talent agents and so many will come up, like thousands. And then you can go, it will have their website information. It will have all the names of the people that work there, the people that own it. You can go on the website. Always read the about section. Who started it, why they started it. And then you can look at all the employees, all the different departments they have. They have Instagram accounts. Go look at their Instagram accounts. And you can submit them. Most of these websites, these agencies will have a submission page and they'll tell you exactly how they want you to submit your child. You do not need to have professional headshots to submit your children to agencies. Now, when you're submitting your children to castings, which are the casting directors who work directly with the production companies of the movies, of the TV shows, that you will need to have professional headshots for. And you can submit your child without having an agent to castings. And I will talk to you about that as well. So actually what I suggest is it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for agents to get back to you if they want you. If they don't want you, you won't hear from them. So if it's been 2 or 3 weeks and you didn't hear from them, they don't want you right now. And it's not because your child doesn't look good enough. It's not because your child is black or too white or too short or too tall. It has nothing to do with that. There are certain seasons of the year where certain age groups are being requested more than other age groups. And agencies don't want to take on an age group for the season that they know that age group is not being called upon frequently. So if they already have those age groups in their agency, obviously they're already signed to them. They will be submitting you if you're already signed to them when these seasons happen. However, to start you off in a season where it's not being frequently asked of in the industry for that age group, they won't sign you up. So don't ever get discouraged if you don't hear back from an agency. They may even circle back around to you when that season comes, or there's nothing wrong with you circling back around to them in 6 months if you feel like you really want that agency to rep your child. Also, I always say submit to as many agencies as you wish to.